Hi everyone, it's Parissa. Hope you guys are warm and cozy wherever you are. I am actually stuck here in San Francisco. My flight was canceled because of all the crazy weather in Toronto. So I'm here. I thought, why not bump up my interview that I was supposed to have with Mary Ray. I'm excited to have her here and have this for you guys now. So basically, we are so privileged to have Mary Ray come on today. She's just jumping on. Awesome. Let me just add her. Um, so let's see if she can jump on. Hi, Mary. Nice to have you. Hi, Jackie. Did you get my invite, Mary? Let's see. So invite, there we go. I'm sending it now. So basically, Mary is a pharmacist, and she, sorry, I think she's coming. Hopefully she got the invite. I wanted to just kind of wait for her to come on before I kind of introduce her, but I may just introduce her soon. Let's see. So, guys, Mary is a pharmacist, and she's a licensed pharmacist and also a professor of pharmacy and practices at the university in the Midwest U.S. And she is a wife, and she's been married for 15 years, and also she's also married to a pharmacist. And do you see it, Mary? Let me see. Bring Mary on. There we go. Okay. She comes from a small town and is one of 7 children. So I'm privileged to have her. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Parissa, how are you?
Good, thanks. How you doing?
Good. I'm sorry. I was trying to do it from my computer and having some technical difficulties, so I just moved over to my phone and said, the heck with it. I'm not gonna.
No worries, no worries. Maybe clean your lens a little bit. I see a little bit fogginess on your lens. Maybe just give it a little wipe. But
Sure. Let me
I'm
see here.
glad you were able to jump on. And if you guys are jumping on, please say hi and tell us where you're watching from, and also just that you can hear us, because sometimes I have done lives where you can't hear me, so I want to make sure that they can hear me. That would be a shame.
Yeah.
So I did just introduce you that you're a professor, you teach pharmacy at university, and that you are an actual licensed pharmacist. And so again, thank you so much for giving us your time. We're really privileged. I know you're super busy. You're a mom. You work, 2 jobs, and yeah, we're really privileged to have you here. I'm very excited to hear what you have to say about our
Oh,
little
thank
pill
you.
and how kind of your story started. Um, so yeah, just basically, if you could tell us a little bit about how you came across we go back and forth between calling it the little yellow pill, which is like a tongue twister for me, and
Yeah.
an NRF2 activator, which is what it does, right? So just tell us
Correct.
kind of how you came across it, what why you challenged it, because I heard that you kind of challenged it at first. I want to know why you thought that it was that's what I've heard. You kind of were like not a big fan
Rumors
of it.
abound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how you challenged it, like what did you do? I'm curious to hear.
Yeah. So it's really kind of a funny story. My story really starts with a former student of mine who had graduated back in 2006. And she was posting about the little yellow pill on Facebook. And her story was interesting. She went from a very highly active P90X, exerciser and someone who just really enjoyed life and enjoyed being active to really being almost nearly debilitated and having not just physical disability, but having headaches and things as well.
Mhm.
And she was posting about this pill and how it gave her life back again. It got rid of her headaches and it gave her husband his wife back again. That's what he always said. I got my Carrie back again. So it sounded like, some true miracle pill. And of course, being a former teacher who is by nature a skeptic, particularly pharmacists who tend to be that way, I just couldn't let that stand because that's just not how we are. So it was, it's important to recognize, I think, that pharmacists in general are not too fond of herbals most of the time. We don't generally do much in terms of herbal approaches to health. At least I used to be that way in the past. And that kind of stems
Mhm.
from a few different places.
Yeah, I'm
If you think
curious to
about it,
hear. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
I mean,
curious.
anybody can walk into any pharmacy and go to the OTC aisle and pick out a vitamin or a mineral and not really have to interact with the pharmacist. And we know this. And so if we don't have a whole lot of control over the patient and what the patient chooses to do, then we don't need to necessarily be quite as up to date and knowledgeable about all the research and things that exist with herbal products, like we do with those that are behind the counter that we need to dispense. And so kind of that's
Mhm.
one role. Um, and then from there, in the United States, there's so much variability about what herbals kind of consist of, the ingredients, whether they're actually properly contained within each product as it's labeled. And so, we worry a little bit about manufacturing processes and whether or not patients get what they're said they're going to get. And
Mhm.
so that's another reason why we tend to be kind of skeptics. But probably the biggest reason is that most herbal products, including vitamins, but mostly herbals, they just don't have data. And so we say, well, if we can't have, a peer-reviewed, randomized control trial, then what good is it? So we
Mhm.
tend to be pretty, skeptical. And so what happened interestingly with my student is not only did I kind of not just scroll on by her Facebook feed and ignore it like a good friend would, right? I decided that I was going to search up some evidence that refuted this wonderful product,
Mhm.
and not exactly my finest moment, and I needed to kind of learn to eventually park my ego at the door. But I found some evidence, because if you look for evidence that's negative, you probably will find something, right? So I
You
went
look
out,
for what
looked,
you
and,
want.
and
Yeah.
found this FDA letter and said, okay, they've been yelled at by the FDA, but I have to tell you, that's actually not uncommon. A lot of companies get told, hey, you're not doing things quite right, because the FDA likes to be hyper vigilant and control everything about what we say, and that's okay.
Mhm.
Um, and so I found a letter and said, Carrie, what are you doing? Why are you posting about this? They got in trouble. They got their hands slapped, which, by the way, for anybody watching, has been completely resolved now. No more problems.
Mhm.
Um,
All
but
clear.
I said, I know better than you obviously know, because that's the way I was behaving. And she said, you know what? I love you and I respect you as my former instructor, but you can pretty much pound salt, because this product changed my life and I don't care what you have to say.
Mhm.
So I thought, gosh, how is it that she feels so strongly enough to tell someone that she cares about, to kind of stick it.
So were you
So
her
I kind of
professor
started
at
to
the
think
time?
about it a little bit more.
Were you her professor at the time? Is that what happened? Like you were teaching her?
Not at the time, no, but
Mhm.
but it was about 10 years
Yeah. Okay.
prior that I was her professor. Yep. So we
Okay.
were
And then
friends.
that's okay. Got it. So okay. So this happened. So you kind of were trying to change your mind and be like, this is silly. Like, there's this and that. I doesn't seem like it's gonna work. So then what happened? Like, what did you do after that? And.
Well, what she didn't really know, and what a lot of people didn't know, because I got pretty good at hiding it, was that I had been suffering from really horrific migraines for years
Mhm.
prior to that. I mean, a headache would come from all sorts of reasons. It could be, hormonal, it could be weather, you name it. I got a migraine from it. And unfortunately, it affected my vision. It had me vomiting. I couldn't function very well at work. So it would be like periodic points where I'd be kind of down for the count, for lack of better words, in terms of my ability to think.
Mhm.
And so it's horrible. I wasn't functioning with my kids properly. And so I was on medication to prevent migraine that made me irritable, gave me brain fog. I was forgetting things. I was actually crying uncontrollably at one point from this medicine.
Oh
And
wow.
I started to have suicidal thoughts. And I thought, okay, this is a traditional med that I believe so much in. This
Mhm.
is ridiculous. And so I started to think, it's time to think about what Carrie's taking. And so I did some more research about the yellow pill, and I found a lot more testimonials. I found some data, and probably the most convincing part was that in looking at the manufacturing and certification process, I felt very confident that it was a quality herbal product.
Mhm.
And then I started to find some data, and the safety profile above and beyond that was safe. And so I thought, well, what do I have to lose? Even if there is
Mhm.
no data, it's not going to hurt me. I felt fairly confident of that. So I thought, okay, I'm going to give it a try. So after 2 months of use, I realized that about a week had gone by where I had no headaches. Then 2 months or 2 weeks, then,
Mhm.
a month, then 2 months. And my last migraine now has been January of 2017. So it's
Wow.
been over a
Yay!
year,
That's
right?
awesome. Yes.
So it's been over a year since I had a migraine headache. And now and again, I'll get an occasional one, but now I
Mhm.
can take care of it most of the time with Tylenol and it will go away without any difficulty.
That's
And so
amazing.
that's been like a night and day difference. But not only that, but I slept better. I had chronic low back pain in my SI joint. That went away. My mood was better. My energy and focus was better. So it was like I got all these kind of plus ones from taking it for headaches that I didn't expect to, which was the cool part.
That's amazing. That is so good because your symptoms that you were describing were pretty severe, like vomiting and not being able to go
Yep.
to work. So I'm so happy that it's helped you, and I'm so happy that you actually tried it. Like, how long
Not
did
as
you
happy as
go
me.
without trying it? Like, you could have tried it because this, you did all this research and you kind of were like skeptic. You could have
Yep.
kind of benefit from it, sooner. How long did you go with all, with your research?
Oh gosh, probably at least 3 or so months since I originally stopped Carrie posting, and I
Mhm.
just kept putting it off. But particularly when you have headaches, you just really, when you don't, you can't even function. I mean, I think back and I can't even talk thinking about it.
Yeah.
So for anybody that's suffering, to me, it's worth a shot. That's the way I've always looked at it.
Awesome. So obviously, like Mary, believed in it so much that you actually are now promoting the product, which is like
Yep.
complete 360 from what
Talk
you
about
were
it.
doing before,
Right.
right? So that's
Right.
amazing. And yeah, like that's like so. Let me so tell us like kind of you just told us about your experience with this NRF2 activator. Tell us a little bit about now that you have clients trying it. I'd love to hear kind of their experience with it.
Yeah, so I have, gosh, quite a range of different things from different people that I've been working with. More people without headaches, certainly. Several with the ability to move more freely than they've been able to move previously. They either had a decrease in their overall physical functionality and now they can move. Um, Better mood, better sleep, people getting off their medications, some decreasing meds for things like even multiple sclerosis and fibromyalgia. They've been able to decrease their medication or in some cases stop medication. And then I have a few people that are just taking the product and knowing that they're doing something good from themselves from their inside out.
Hmm.
So, because from my standpoint, Nerve2 activation serves as an antioxidant in terms of boosting our own body's ability to make our own antioxidants, which is really cool. But most
Hmm.
people don't realize it also removes toxic metals. It helps break down our byproducts from cell turnover and such. And, can your multivitamin that you've been taking forever say the same thing? Right? Most
Yeah,
people take multivitamins and they never stop and think about the fact that they don't feel any differently. But
that's so.
yet, with the little yellow pill, they absolutely want to see results. And
Hmm.
so some people we see massive results, and some people it's just something good for them to take, and they improve a little bit a day at a time.
That's
So it
right.
works differently. You know, um, you're taking plant chemicals in your body that activate your own cells in order to make increased superoxide dismutase, catalase, and glutathione for those that get into the science out there. And those are far more powerful antioxidants than we could ever consume in blueberries and my favorite wine,
Yes,
and so that it's kind of a no-brainer.
definitely. No, when you're activating every single cell in your body to do kind of what it used to do, it kind of gets shut off at around 22, 23 is what I've been told. That like, that kind of your body
Yep,
slows down producing antioxidants, but now you're activating every cell. The amount of benefits that you're giving yourself is absolutely amazing. And
that's right.
just like yourself, I felt the same thing. Like I felt the boost of energy. Personally took it. I didn't have any debilitating issues myself. I took it because I just kind of wanted to, I know what it did for my body. I wanted to slow down premature aging. And
Right,
then afterwards, I didn't even think that I had issues with my sleeping. If you had asked me, I would
right.
have been like, no, I'm sleeping fine. But then I ended up taking it. I was like, oh my God, I woke up in the mornings and I felt so much more rested. So
Hmm.
it was like a shock to me. I'm like, I would have never said that my sleep was bad beforehand,
Hmm.
right? And I was
And you
like,
know what's
this
so
is what
cool?
it's supposed to be
The,
like.
the cool, yeah, the cool part about it for me is not only was I sleeping well, but I was actually staying up later at night because my focus and my alertness was so much better. And it wasn't false like when you drink too much coffee, right? It actually was a natural, like, okay, here I am. I'm sharp, I'm focused, I'm ready to go. I was working into the late evenings. My husband was doing the same when he started the little yellow pill. It was like, where's all this coming from? And it was such
You
a
know
welcome change from my headache times, right? So it
Yeah.
was great.
That is so, yeah, it's amazing. And what I also noticed, I had a wrist injury that I'm and a hip injury, and these were like from years ago. I guess I had some built up scar tissue in there that I just kind of just got used to. I realized that my mobility got so much better, and that pain in my hip went away, which like it
Mhm.
was just over time. Like it wasn't like it was like you said, all of a sudden. One day I was like, oh my God, wait a second, my wrist doesn't hurt anymore. Like I didn't, it wasn't like, I noticed it in the beginning. It was amazing. So just things kind of build up because it gets better and better as you take it, right? It kind of builds up in your body. So it's the benefits of it. So it's just amazing. So it's just basically reducing your oxidative stress that has been building up in your body, and now it's reducing it. So it's just absolutely
Mhm.
amazing. So
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, everybody has an underlying cause to their illnesses. Some people may respond, some people won't. I mean, but for me, obviously, oxidative stress was a component to my migraine headaches. Yep.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And inflammation was from I think I reduced inflammation because I could just tell
mhm.
in my body, like my face, my stomach, it just like it all kind of went down. I could just tell.
Right.
Um, so we talk about a lot of times we mentioned that we have 24 studies on PubMed.gov. And
Mhm.
personally, before I even came across this, I didn't know what PubMed.gov was. Like this is the first time I heard of it. So I'm sure a lot of my friends and family who keep hearing about PubMed.gov that I keep talking about, they're like, that it doesn't really mean anything to them, right? So
Right.
I would love for you to just kind of explain to us why is it so significant that we do this natural product has these 24 peer-reviewed studies, clinical written studies on this platform, and what it is.
Mhm.
Like if you could just explain it from your point of view, I would love to hear.
What's
Yeah.
PubMed.gov? Yeah. So
Yes.
so to put it simply, PubMed is a search engine for medical publications, just like Google is a search engine for pretty much everything out on the internet. And so that's all it is a search engine. It's a way to get at that literature. And so if you type in PubMed.gov, it'll give you a search bar and you can put in oxidative stress and whatever your ailment is. And I would bet you that you're probably going to find lots of hits. If you looked at Nerf2 activation and something like migraine headache, I would bet you
Yes.
that you're going to find some results.
Hmm.
And Nerf2 activation is the way that this particular product works, and so it's very interesting. Neurologic diseases, the same thing. So over 200 different disease states have Nerf2 activation as potential, or I should say, oxidative stress as its underlying problem. And
Yep.
Nerf2 activation is being studied in so many of them. And so it's just something different to look at. Nerf2 activation actually is part of the mechanism, one of the mechanisms that a pharmaceutical product used for MS goes after. And yet our product was specifically shown to have greater activity than that pharmaceutical product in some of the indicators that they looked at. So it's kind of fascinating to have an herbal branded product be able to do so much.
I
So
saw that
so
study
getting back
actually.
to the
Yeah.
yeah, so getting back to the 24 peer-reviewed papers, yeah, we have 24 of them. The little yellow pill has either been studied directly or mentioned specifically by name in 24 different published manuscripts. They're not all randomized controlled trials. There's different types of manuscripts that have been mentioned. And this is kind of unheard of for a branded herbal product to have at all. Because as I said
Mhm.
earlier, pharmacists are skeptics because there's no data for most products.
Mhm.
And so a lot of companies also say they have studies, but it's usually not published information. It's things that they have on file with their company, and that's it. And our company's never taken that approach, which I think is really neat. So we have different types of data. We have lab-based data, animal data, some clinical data or use in humans. And interestingly, data from independent universities. It shows that oxidative stress, the number one cause of aging in these 200 diseases, is decreased by 40% in 30 days in the subjects tested.
Mhm.
Mouse data to show an increase in lifespan of 7 years. And this is the only branded supplement to be able to say that. And that was done by the National Institutes of Aging, which is essentially a sub section of the NIH. So a government funded study, which is pretty cool. We have lab-based data to show little yellow pill protects heart muscle or cardiomyocytes, as they're called, against damage from oxidative
Hmm.
stress. So there's
Hmm.
lots of different things out there. We have data to show that it outperforms CBD, the hot thing everybody's talking about on the
Yeah.
market.
Yeah.
We've had data that shows that we outperform CBD in certain levels or markers of inflammation. So you know what? It's cool. But I tend to be balanced in my approach, Parissa. So it's important for me to even say, you know what? There's some studies out there that were negative, meaning not negative, not putting our pill in a negative light, but things that didn't turn out the way the investigators thought, right? So they measured athletes' ability to perform like superhuman human beings, and it didn't
Yes.
it didn't have a positive outcome. It
Yes.
didn't do it, but we learn something from every single study we do, and we keep plugging
Definitely.
along and trying to find out what works best. And these are independently done by universities. And so I think it's great that our company doesn't stop anybody from studying it, just so that we continue to find out more information and help people.
That's right. No, that is so true. You no, you never know the result of a study when you start it, and like you said,
Right.
you kind of learn from each one, and then you kind of take it from there. It's like kind of you take it to, you just try to figure out what happened, or you can tweak it a little bit and see what it does. So yeah, absolutely. Every study is very important, and
Mhm.
yeah, some of the studies are absolutely amazing. Like I mean, and like you said,
Yeah.
like it
And
shows to extend life.
some of right.
No, it's
Some
like
of
I
our
was.
best data is not published on PubMed. I'm sorry, we keep kind of talking.
No, go
So,
for it. Go
we
for it.
have thousands of testimonials in addition to what's published. So even going out and doing a Google search using that platform, right? Um, to do a Google search on efficacy, and you'll find lots of patient testimonials too, which I think it's really cool
Definitely.
too.
We
Yeah.
actually have a group which like how many people are 27,000 people that are in that group currently with testimonials. When I started learning about this product a year ago, there was around, I can't remember, like 20,000 maybe at the
Yeah, I
time.
was going to say there's about 16 or 17,000, I think, when I joined, which was
Yeah, so there's
really
constant
crazy.
people like kind of getting added every time they try the product and then they just share their experiences. Sometimes I have seen people say, like I've been taking it for 4 months, 5 months, and I haven't noticed anything, right? But then we encourage them to stay because you kind of see if you go scroll down, you see other people who have tried it, and every person is different because they have had a different experience in life. Their body has taken on different types of toxins, so therefore
Hmm.
they may need to try it for longer. And so then you
It's a
can
longer
kind of
period of time.
yeah, and then you go kind of back up, and then they come back after a few months and said, "Thank you so much for encouraging me for trying it for longer." After let's say 7 months, they finally get results, right? So
Yep.
and some people get it in 2 weeks. I have a friend who was in a
Right,
car
I know.
accident,
I'm a little
and
jealous of those people.
yeah, like you just never know. So we never can guarantee like when you're going to all of a sudden wake up and like feel it. And so
Yeah,
it's just, or sometimes you might not even feel it, but you know that in your blood it's been clinically proven that it works. So
yeah.
I really wanted people to kind of hear this. I was so happy that you accepted to kind of come on and share your experience with us and experience your knowledge about this kind of NRF2 and why it's so important for us. So. I mean, I just wanted to ask you if there's anything else you wanted to share. Is there anything else that we didn't touch base on? I would love to hear about it.
It's interesting. I am as a healthcare professional, I'm able to be in a specific healthcare practitioner group within our company. And so I'm on I don't want to say a listserv, an email listserv where we ask clinical questions all the time and we get to kind of, bounce things off certain brains. And I would say that the number of healthcare professionals that have been added to that group since joining is quite remarkable. So healthcare professionals, I think, need to be paying attention to this company and these products. The opportunity has not just given me a chance to talk about something I love, which is science, but to really help people improve their life and not just cover up symptoms, which I think, unfortunately, we tend to do with pharmaceutical products, right? We
Mhm.
treat somebody's symptom group and not really ask, well, why is it that they're having these problems? And certainly, I mean, this is not to refute the role that things like diet play, okay,
Mhm.
and getting on a healthy diet that is anti-inflammatory in nature. But this is another thing to put into the armamentarium to help people feel better. And so if you want to be part of this, I would just encourage anybody that's watching, contact Carissa, contact me, or whoever it is that put you in touch with this video. And if you want to be a biohacker and take products, awesome. If you want to join our team, awesome. If you just want to share this information and help others, I think that's awesome too. So I just appreciate the time, Carissa.
Absolutely. Like I just have a passion about sharing it. And so, you never know who these videos will reach. So I think it's important for us to keep talking about it. And I just want the right person to hear it, whether it's the person listening now or somebody that you may know, like you said, and share the
Right.
information. Because ultimately the goal is to get people to get better. People like yourself, people that I've helped as well. The most rewarding thing is that when you get that call or that text message or email, when the person is so thankful and are so
Right.
happy that you reached out to them and share the information. So I'm very
Agreed.
grateful.
Amen, sister.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Mary, for coming on. I really
Very
appreciate
welcome.
it. And we'll be in touch soon.
All right. And your hair
Definitely.
looks awesome. Must be the hair
Thank you. I
care.
just got it done. My my aunt is a hairdresser, and I'm here, like I said, in San Jose, San Francisco. So I was like taking advantage. I'm like, please fix my hair, and I think she's actually
Yeah.
watching. So thanks, Khalazi. So thank you, and
You're
yeah,
welcome.
we'll talk soon.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Bye
Okay. Bye bye.
bye.